Imagine this. Someone dies. Their money is supposed to go to the people they left behind, their children, relatives, or other beneficiaries. But what if the money meant to secure their future, allegedly, ended up paying for a luxury car? That is the question at the center of a shocking case now unfolding in Polokwane. An attorney and her husband are facing allegations involving approximately R$175 million from two deceased estates. And investigators say a huge portion of that money was allegedly used in connection with a Mercedes-Benz AMG G63. But how did money belonging to deceased people allegedly end up on a luxury car transaction? So, what exactly does an executor do? When someone dies, their estate has to be administered. Assets must be identified. Debts may have to be settled. And ultimately, money or property that remains should be distributed according to the law and the deceased person's estate arrangements. That makes the position of executor a position of enormous responsibility. And according to the state's allegations, Tibana was appointed executor of two estates involved in this investigation. The allegation is that money from those estates was unlawfully transferred and ultimately used for purposes unrelated to the beneficiaries. Now comes the part investigators are focusing on: the money trail. According to the state, approximately R$1.75 million was withdrawn from accounts connected to two deceased estates. The allegations include transactions that investigators say concealed or moved the money away from its intended purpose. And then investigators allegedly found something that made the trail even more interesting: a luxury vehicle. According to the National Prosecuting Authority, approximately R$1.65 million was allegedly used towards the purchase of a pre-owned Mercedes-Benz AMG G63. A further amount of around R$100,000 was also reportedly connected to the transaction. Together, investigators say the amounts form part of the approximately 1.75 million rands at the center of the case. Think about that for a moment. Money allegedly linked to deceased estates, a luxury vehicle worth millions, and an executor who allegedly had access to estate funds. That is the money trail the investigators are now putting under the microscope. But behind every estate file is a human story. Someone died, and somewhere there are people who expected that person's assets to be handled properly. When estate money disappears, the issue isn't simply about numbers on a bank statement. It can mean delayed inheritances, financial hardship, family disputes, and years of waiting for money that beneficiaries may have been legally entitled to receive. That is why allegations involving deceased estates can be particularly disturbing. The people whose money is being administered are no longer there to protect it themselves. The state's case also places Peter Nonyani in the alleged financial chain. Nonyan is employed by the Tshwane Metro Police Department. Following his arrest, the department confirmed that it had opened an internal disciplinary investigation and said it was cooperating with the Hawks. But there is an important distinction here. Being accused does not mean being found guilty. The allegations still have to be tested through the criminal justice process. The investigation has been handled by the Hawks, specifically investigators dealing with serious commercial crime. This isn't simply a case of a missing bank transfer. Investigators are looking at allegations of fraud, theft, and money laundering. That means authorities will have to establish exactly what happened to the money. Who authorized the transactions? Where the money went? And whether those involved knew they were dealing with funds that were not theirs to use. On August 17th, Tibana and Nonyane appeared in the Polokwane Magistrates' Court. The court did not determine their guilt. Instead, they were remanded in custody while the case progressed. Their bail application was scheduled for August 21st, and that hearing could become another important chapter in this case, because bail is not the same thing as a verdict. The court will consider the relevant legal factors before deciding whether the accused should be released pending further proceedings. But perhaps the biggest question isn't about the Mercedes. It's this: how did money allegedly intended for deceased people's beneficiaries become connected to a luxury purchase in the first place? Was it an authorized transaction? Was there a legitimate explanation? Or, as the state alleges, was estate money deliberately diverted? Those are questions the evidence and the court proceedings will have to answer. And this part is crucial. At this stage, these are allegations. Charlotte Tibana and Peter Nonyane have not been convicted of these offenses. The state must prove its case. The accused have the right to challenge the evidence against them. And ultimately, it is the court that will determine what actually happened. One thing is certain: a luxury car has now become one of the most visible pieces of a much bigger financial investigation. Approximately R$2 million. 2 deceased estates. An attorney who allegedly had responsibility for administering those estates. A Metro Police employee. And a Mercedes-Benz AMG G63 at the center of the alleged money trail. The court proceedings may eventually reveal whether this was simply a misunderstood transaction, or whether, as the state alleges, money belonging to grieving families was diverted for personal benefit. And that is the part of this story we will be watching closely. Because when the people who are supposed to protect an inheritance become accused of taking from it, the question isn't only where the money went. It's who was supposed to be protecting it in the first place. End screen. Charlotte Tibana and Peter Nonyane. R$2 million estate case. The allegations will be tested in court. All accused persons are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Like, share, and subscribe for updates on this case.